Live from the Dr. Jerry Henderson Radio Complex, it's time for Card Guys. And now, here's your host, Anthony Schulte.
Good morning! Thank you, Michael, for the intro as always, and welcome to Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk, Season 3, Episode 14. Coming up today, the Lions obliterate the Titans on home turf, seeing 6 different players reach pay dirt. We deliver our analysis. The NFL had an incredible Week 8, and we discuss all of the happenings around the league. The Pistons started their season over the weekend. We highlight what is an optimistic first 3 games. And the Red Wings lose a heartbreaker in overtime. I'm Anthony Schulte, and joining me, as always, is my man, Ryan Donnelly.
It was hard to get up this morning. I've had a very exhausting weekend, and this morning was kind of rough for me. But nonetheless, we're here. We're up. It's 7:30. Chromacopia just came out at 6 a.m. Shout out Tyler, the creator. I'm still listening. So far, pretty good. Let's have a good show, gentlemen. Let's have a great show.
Somebody dropped music on a Monday?
Yeah.
At 6 in the morning.
Tyler, the creator, one of my top 5 rappers of all time, in my opinion, dropped an album today at 6 a.m.
Really? 6 a.m.?
6 a.m. And I was listening to it on my way here, and I'm at the 3rd song, and it's all right. It's pretty good.
Okay. All right. And also, right next to me, Mr. Michael Rosenkranz.
Great to be here on a Monday morning. It's getting darker out in the morning, chilly out this morning, and for some reason it's going to be in the 70s tomorrow. Ryan, I know you'll like that very much.
Pure Michigan.
Pure Michigan weather, but we got a great show for you guys today. Stay tuned.
Yes. And you said it's a Monday. It's not just any Monday. It's a victory Monday.
Yes,
for
it
the
is.
Detroit Lions. We'll get to them after our 3 stars. Ryan, kick us off today.
All right, so my 3 stars. My 3rd star is Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers, who last night against our Detroit Red Wings, in a great overtime win for them. 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, including the winning overtime goal. Pretty good from Leon Draisaitl. My 2nd star is going to Freddie Freeman, who already has 2 home runs in the World Series, one of those being a walk-off first-pitch grand slam off of Nestor Cortez.
Best Gibby impression.
Gibby! Meet Freddie! Shout out iCarly. And my...
Oh, wait, because... I just realized that.
That's a throwback.
Yep, and my 1st star, I'm giving it just the overall Lions special teams. Jack Fox last night, it was amazing. He had great punts. He had 305 total yards in his punting, including one that landed at the 8-yard line. Khalil Dorsey, he didn't get a touchdown yesterday, but still, running up the score, running up the stat line, very good stuff from Khalil Dorsey. And then the MVP of this game, which we'll talk about later, Khalif Raymond.
Hey, you took my star.
It's not one of my... Well, I mean... It still could be.
He's
your
highlighting
star.
the Lions.
I'm just
special
highlighting
teams.
the special teams. I'll leave the stats up to you, but Khalif Raymond, very good game last night. Those are my 3 stars.
All right, so for my 3 stars, 3rd star, I'm going to go with Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
Last game, he had a little bit of a stinker against the Celtics. He only shot 9 for 22 from the field for 21 points, but bottom line, he's got 82 points in 3 games. He's on the right foot, and you expect that from the Pistons star going forward. My 2nd star is going to be Sam Laporta.
Yes.
How about Laporta? And not only him, but Brock Wright on National Tight Ends Day, both getting in the end zone. It was a great day overall from Sam Laporta. 6 receptions for 48 yards, his longest being 24 yards and a touchdown. Great day. And my 1st star, the entire Lions offense. 52 points in 3 quarters. It's few and far in between. 35 points at halftime was the Lions' largest score at the half since 1970, I want to say.
I think so.
Something around that point.
I did write it down in my notes here.
Yes, the highest scoring half since 1970. And not only that, Lions are 6-1. We'll get to that in a little later. Lions are 6-1 for the first time since 1956. And there was another stat in there that Lions keep making history. It was Khalif Raymond's 90-yard punt return for a touchdown for a 72-yard kickoff return by Dorsey. Yeah, here it is. The Detroit became the 3rd team since 1941 to have a punt return of 90 yards or more and a kickoff return of 70 yards or more in a game.
Wow.
Those are my 3 stars. It was an excellent showing.
It was. All right, 3 stars for me. I'm going to give an honorable star to Malik Beasley, who got kicked out of my 3 stars at the end of a certain Browns game. Malik Beasley has been just on fire to start the season. He had a really good game against the Celtics, really good game against the Cavs. So Malik Beasley, got to give my Pistons some love. But my 3rd star, as I alluded to, famous Jameis Winston, the funniest guy in the NFL, turning into one of my favorite players just because of how funny he is. Jameis Winston, what are his exact stats? Look at me, unprepared. It's amateur hour here on Card Guys.
I know he didn't have a pick.
No, he didn't.
He played some good ball.
In this game, he had a completion percentage of 65.9, 334 yards, and 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of 115. Just a great game from Jameis, kind of stepping in for Deshaun Watson after he went down with that injury. Beating the Ravens. The 1-6 Browns beat the Ravens. So just a really, really fun end to that game. One of the many, many, many great games this past Sunday, but we'll get to those in a little bit. My 2nd star is the king, the GOAT, LeBron James. 30-point triple-double at age 40. Well, 39 and a lot of change.
Age 40 on December 30th.
Age 40. I'm just going to say he's 40. My goodness. I mean, what was Jordan doing at 40? Sitting at a poker table putting millions? Yeah. Not LeBron. LeBron's making millions on the court. What a game from LeBron. Finally, Anthony Davis beating Domantas Sabonis for the first time in his career. They are now 1-10 against Domantas Sabonis. Anthony Davis is. But I actually found it funny. The Kings announcers were so salty about streamers coming down at the end of the Lakers game. However, they're the same team that lights a beam into space when they beat the Pistons by 30.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Light the beam. I love Light the Beam.
I don't like the Kings. I don't like Light the Beam. Especially now that the announcers are like, "Hey, we don't like that you're putting down streamers like you won the NBA Finals. You light a beam into space."
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I know you don't like the Kings, but if I had to pick a second favorite team, it's the Kings.
Yeah, I don't like their fans. Anyways, 1st star is, as I mentioned earlier, Khalif Raymond. He had 5 punt returns, 192 punt return yards, and a touchdown. Not to mention he had 2 receptions for 14 yards and a touchdown. I memorized that. Just a great game from Khalif. He got a game ball. Really, 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 I think he was the catalyst to putting us into the prime field position because he didn't just have that return touchdown. He had a bunch of different returns that gave us a pretty good field position. So he almost had that return touchdown earlier in the game before his return touchdown. So a great game from Khalif Raymond. Speaking of Khalif Raymond, he plays for the Lions. The Lions played a football game yesterday.
They did.
And football they did play indeed. 52-14, the final tally from Ford Field. Ryan, you were there.
I was there.
What a game. What a game. I will say this. The game turned around. The game was over at the end of the first half, at the end of the second quarter. What deflated the Titans and gave Lions all of the momentum in the world was that goal line stop on 4th and goal from the 1.
Yes.
Stopping them somehow. You have Tony Pollard at the 1 and you're not just cashing it in. Somehow, some way, you stopped them. On 4 downs inside the 5. And you didn't let them score before half. And then you stop them coming out of half. It could have been 35-28 5 minutes into the third quarter, and then we got a game. Instead, your defense really cleaned up their act. That defense looked terrible in that first quarter. Calvin Ridley had 118 yards in that first quarter. He looked like he was on track to have 400 yards in that game.
He had 118 yards of Tennessee's first 180.
Yeah. So
wild.
we let Mason Rudolph absolutely tear us up until who was that guy? Oh my goodness, why am I forgetting his name?
It's
First
a
interception.
It's a 3-name name, right?
No. I think he's number 53.
Oh, you're talking about for the Lions.
Yeah.
It was, stand by, I might have it
That
here.
first interception of the game.
Oh,
See,
Trevor
it's-
Nowaski.
Trevor
Nowaski, yes. Okay, so Nowaski gets the first interception. All right. And then we see Kirby Joseph get beat twice. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do twice. Aaron Glenn is ripping him a new one on the sideline. He comes back, and one of the biggest plays of the game was that interception by Kirby Joseph. Not only because it gave us the ball back, but because we are seeing maturity from Kirby Joseph. Usually, when he makes a mistake, you'd see him get bogged down, and then you don't hear from him the rest of the game. This time, he put it behind him, got an interception. I love seeing that from Kirby Joseph. Just a great overall team win. The offense looked great. Gibby with that 70-yard run. Monty with the passing touchdown. Just a great team win overall.
Before I get into my points, let's talk about the environment at Ford Field. I was there. Hello.
We established that.
Yes, we did establish that. Let's talk about fan environment. There was a point in the game, I think it was the Titans' second or third drive, where they were like, "We can't hear you," and they were hyping up the crowd. And then on the scoreboard, they pointed to Aiden Hutchinson, who was in a suite. He had a boot. His leg was up. He was in his cast, and the place got loud.
The cameras were shaking.
Yeah, it was. I was right next to so where I was on the field, or where I was at work, I was right next to a camera guy. Man, his camera was like rumbling. It was crazy. And then at that play, Mason Rudolph went deep to Calvin Ridley. Like they showed Hutch. Next play, Calvin Ridley down the field. But this game would have not been blown by. We wouldn't have won this much if it wasn't for good ball position by both the defense and special teams, because we couldn't drive down the field at all last night, whether it was Goff and friends or whether it was Hooker and friends, Hendon Hooker and friends. If it wasn't for special teams and if it wasn't for defense, this is how our game would have gone. Punt, field goal, punt. Those touchdowns that we scored last night from good ball position by Khalif Raymond, Khalil Dorsey, Kirby Joseph, and all the millions and millions of fumbles we had last night. 11 straight games with a turnover by the opposing team. 11 straight games, franchise record.
This was the longest streak in the NFL too.
Longest streak in the NFL. Man, I'm excited for my McDonald's fries today.
Oh yeah, we get free
There
fries
you
at
go.
McDonald's at the Mook.
We got. Oh man, but one more thing about the fans is that they were out of it towards the end of the game. Like
We were up by like 50.
there was a couple fumbles towards the end of the game, and they were like, "Oh yay!" Like, "Oh, we're up by so much." Like, "Oh, that's cool." But I mean,
These fans aren't used to being up by that much at home.
No,
not at
they're
all.
not.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
Right, it usually is the
But-
other way around.
That was not a gritty win at all. That was a great win by the boys. Dominant on all assets of the floor or on the field, basketball. Yeah, but man, that was a great win. Going into Lambeau next week, no Jordan Love. Hopefully he doesn't play next week. Billy Quillis started last night. We'll talk about it in our next segment. But we have all this momentum going into Lambeau, which is always the hardest and most stressful week for this Lions team. If we go into this swinging the momentum on our side, we are just going to go kick some butt at Lambeau, and I'm excited for next week.
What does the back of my shirt say?
Oh, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
He had
52 points on 85 passing yards. He had 85 passing yards.
52 points in fantasy.
No,
for
the
the game.
Lions.
The game.
I'm dumb.
I was like, I didn't misspeak, right?
No,
he
you're
had
good.
Points.
We had 52 points on 85 passing yards. People are saying, "Oh, well, Goff only had 85 passing yards." Let me say something to you here. Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He only had 85 passing yards because we got the ball at the 30 and the 20 every single time.
Yep.
You can't accumulate passing yards if you don't have the whole field to work with. Not to mention when we did have the whole field, their secondary is still really good, and their secondary is really good at covering the whole field.
They did this without L'Jarius Sneed, by the way.
They did, yeah, they did. The Titans are the number one defense, or were the number one defense in the NFL going into this game. So the struggles early on made sense, but he still had 130 passer rating with 85 passing yards. If that's not telling you who the NFL MVP as of today is, it's not that fraud Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
It's not Lamar Jackson who can't beat the 1-6 Browns.
Nope.
It's Jared Goofball Goff. The Goffense was rolling.
It sure was. Titans were the number one defense going into last night. Yesterday, they had number 3 passing defense. You didn't really need to pass the ball a whole bunch just because you had Gibby and Monty doing the work
Didn't
on the
make the
ground.
same mistakes you made against Tampa.
Nope. And that's why you lost the game against Tampa.
We should be
didn't
undefeated.
You didn't want to run the ball against Tampa for some reason.
We
But
lost
anyway,
because
I
of my
digress.
You've made up. Your aura
I
has.
made it up.
You have gained aura points from this last one.
Thank you.
This was a great overall win for the Lions, and again, the point is emphasized that the Lions have depth. It's a lot of good, young, up-and-coming talent rising.
Hungry.
Yes, they're hungry, and did the Lions score any points in the fourth quarter yesterday with their backups? No,
But
unfortunately.
we have Hendon Hooker handing the ball off. He's not even passing the ball. Why would we have our quarterback prospect pass the ball? Let's just hand it off to Craig Reynolds.
Or
Right.
pitch it to Craig Reynolds.
Right.
Exactly.
Not throw the ball. Why would we throw the ball? He
No.
only has 5 passing attempts this entire season, and we have been in 2 blowouts. I think we need to work on that because you're not developing him if you're not letting him pass the ball. Anyways.
I would agree. You need to develop a young quarterback, and he hasn't had much playing time as Jared Goff, and he probably won't for a while. Goodness forbid Jared Goff gets injured because he's dealing with that ankle problem,
He said he'll be fine.
which always worries me, especially since he's getting up there a little bit. He's now 30, I think. But anyways, great win for the Lions against the Packers. You're going to Lambeau. Lions have had their struggles in Lambeau. But this is the point. It's another divisional game. Win your divisional contests and go in there guns blazing. You won in Lambeau last year to close out the season when Jamal Williams got his 17 touchdowns in the season that broke the franchise touchdown record. It's time to, have that game in the back of your mind. Like, look what you did last year. Go back and do it again this year. They have every right to do it again this year, and I certainly think they can do it this year.
Could Monty break that record?
He could.
I very
What
well
is
think
at
he
right
could.
now?
I think he's at,
Hold on.
it's week 9, 9 minus 2.
Coming into
He's at
week
7.
9.
Oh, wait, no. He'd be at
David
6.
Montgomery has...
No, he's at 7.
He's at, why does it say? Oh, that's,
He's at 7.
David Montgomery's at 7.
Yep. So if he...
So
He's
it's-
got a little ways to go.
He's
got what?
I think there's going to be a game this season, maybe 2 more, that we're going to get the ball at the 1, and he's got a couple more 2, maybe even 3 touchdown games. I think, especially towards the end of the season, once we get down to about the 5-yard line, and it's like, all right, he's at 14 right now with 2 games to go. Let's get him that record. Here, Monty, take the ball in. Something like that.
What's the Lions franchise record? Is it 17 or 18?
17.
17.
So he's gotta get to 18.
So he's got to get 11 more.
I could see it.
I could 100... It's very much possible.
Do we? Oh, it's rushing touchdowns. I was going to say, do we count the passing touchdown?
No, it's
rushing touchdown.
It's rushing. So, it's possible, and here's the thing. It's going to be big if the Packers don't have Jordan Love. I'm still a little nervous about Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley.
Malik Beasley.
No.
Malik Beasley's on
Malik-
the Packers now? Dang
No.
it, we lost Beasley!
You
I
lost
love Malik.
Beasley to the Packers. He's now going to Lambeau Field every Sunday to show up for practice report. Let's try that again because it's early in the morning. It's Malik Willis.
Yes.
Yes.
There it is.
Liberty
Wrong
Flames
Malik.
legend.
Malik Willis. I think he's still a guy that you can't take for granted. He made big plays yesterday
He's a
when he came
scrambler,
in
too.
against the Jags. He's a scrambler, which the Lions have struggled against scrambling quarterbacks. So I think you can win this game, even if it's Malik Willis. You got to be prepared for the scramble, and you got to be prepared to win on the road. You got to win your divisional games.
Do what
won
you
against
did
the
last
Vikings.
season.
Exactly.
Prepare how you prepared last season for that Thursday Night Football game and just execute your offense. This team has the talent and the coaching to just execute. Play clean football, execute, and you're going to win.
Yeah, no doubt. And just to kind of put a button on this thing, seems like every game that the Lions have a trick play. What's the trick play going to be next week, guys?
Panay, please do it at Lambeau, Panay. Oh
Penei
my
Sewell
goodness.
Getting a touchdown would be awesome. I even read it yesterday. I was over at Anthony's infamous Cobb 307 to watch the game.
Next week's about to be insane at Cobb 307.
Oh,
Next
yeah, we got
week is
Pistons
gonna be
and Lions at the same
awesome.
time.
We got Pistons and Lions, yeah.
It is going to be. But the play when David Montgomery threw the passing touchdown to Sam Laporta, I sort of read it like as soon as it happened. I saw the handoff. David Montgomery started, and then he stopped. And I said, wait, look at this. And then he just puts it on a
What
dot.
a tight spiral.
Tight
right in the breadbasket for Laporta.
Beautiful
for
throw.
Laporta.
Yes. It was Ben Johnson. You are a madman. You are an offensive mastermind. And I don't want to say we took it for granted that he came back, but
We got to enjoy it while we have it.
We got to enjoy it while we have him because his phone is going to be blowing up even more this offseason.
Yep. All right, so the Lions, they do play the Packers. We'll have a little bit more in-depth preview on Wednesday for that game. Really big game, probably the biggest game of the season for the Lions. So we'll have a preview of that on Wednesday. A little bit more of what we've been talking about here today so far. Let's quickly hit the NFL Week 8, and what a Week 8 it was. Just incredible. Wow. So
what
many great games that have come down to the wire. Let's start off with Thursday night's football. The Vikings and Rams. The Vikings losing on a missed face mask call. I picked the Vikings, but I'm happy they lost. I think people are saying that the refs handed the Rams the win. No, to the contrary. The Vikings had at least 2 opportunities inside the 10 to score a touchdown, and they didn't. They had to settle for a field goal. That's what lost them the game, not the refs missing a face mask call. The refs miss calls every single play in every single game. You can't blame the refs for this one, Minnesota. You can't. Because you had every opportunity to attack and win this game, and you didn't. That's on you. And you really think they cost you the game when you still had to go down 95 yards, score a touchdown, then get a 2-point conversion?
Right.
And then go into overtime and then defend in overtime against the red-hot Rams offense? I don't believe it. I picked the Vikings, but that's a happy loss right there.
I also picked the Vikings.
I picked the Vikings as well. They lost 2 straight, so windows opening up a little bit in the NFC North. Packers and Lions are the only teams that have 6 wins. Vikings now have 5, and I think the Bears still have 4. I wanna say.
Poverty, Chicago.
We'll get
They're
to
still over 500.
They're still over 500. We'll get to the Bears in a second.
No, they're 4-4.
4-3.
They're 4 and 3.
Oh, they're 4-3.
4-3.
I am slow. All right, Ravens and Browns. As I mentioned earlier,
What happened?
the 2% that picked the Browns, more power to you.
Lamar, what happened?
Lamar, buddy. There's not much to talk about. Great game from Jameis. I mean, we all picked the Ravens. Jameis showed up. He tore up that Ravens defense, and wow, if you bet on the Browns. Nice little payday.
Here's what
you
I
don't
will
have to go to work.
Here's what I'll say really quick. Lamar's throw, you and I saw this. Lamar hit a dime to Rashad Bateman in the sun, wide open, nobody around him. He drops the ball.
Yep.
You gotta catch the ball, Rashad Bateman. And as upset as Lamar Jackson was, Rashad Bateman, the very first thing when he dropped it, he went like this as to say, that's on me.
And he's
like,
acknowledging
that
his
is on
tribal
me.
chief.
Exactly. He's acknowledging his tribal chief with the point, I don't know wrestling that much. I'm just going along with the
Roman
bandwagon.
Reigns.
Yes. Roman Reigns.
Also, Kyle Hamilton also costed them the game, too, because they were up on that last Browns drive, and Jameis Winston had a ball right to Kyle Hamilton, and he dropped it.
He dropped it. Yep.
So
crazy.
The Browns pull off the upset. Incredible. I Everybody got that wrong.
Yeah.
And we got Lions-Titans. Everybody picked the Lions. 99% of America got that right. How about Cardinals and Dolphins? Our good friend Jason Benetti on the call. When are we going to get Benetti on a Lions game? Come on, Fox. Feed us what we want.
You got to, dude.
But Cardinals, Dolphins. I picked the Dolphins. And I'm not picking them again. They suck. You can't beat the Cardinals and you got Tua back. Come on.
Yeah, that's awful. I get worried every single time now with a QB pressure on Tua. I just tense up just because you never know what's going to happen with Tua. Tua, you should have retired. That's my opinion.
I picked the Cardinals. Yes.
All right, the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Falcons, my dirty birds.
Your dirty birds.
Dirty birds.
Happy.
Over the Bucks.
Yeah, actually, the Falcons shouldn't have won because Kyle Pitts did not score that touchdown. He was also on my fantasy bench. I picked the Falcons. Very happy.
I had the Falcons on this one. I went along with the Dirty Bird bandwagon, and hey, they did wonders for the both of us.
I also followed the Dirty Bird bandwagon.
Yes, dude. All of us on the Dirty Bird bandwagon here today.
Indeed. And then we have Colts, Texans. The Texans barely scraping out a win against the Colts. But hey, contenders find a way to win. Texans found a way to win. I picked the Texans along with 95% of the folks in America.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson sucks.
He's not ideal.
He's not great. And now this Texans win by 3 kind of makes me feel a little bit better when we play them in week 10 or 11. I'm not sure.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So 10.
I was very scared going against the Texans, but I feel a lot more optimistic now.
Yeah. And we have Eagles, Bengals, and Nick Sirianni. Why are you not handing the ball to Saquon Barkley? The Philly special sucks. I hate it. If you give the ball to Saquon once, reward your top running back. You paid him all this money, and you're not letting him score his touchdowns. Let him score. If he was to score one, I'd have a better chance of winning fantasy this week. I could have started Kyle Pitts too, but Saquon Barkley is your top running back, and you're running the Philly special so Jalen Hurts can get manufactured, industry-planted touchdowns. Eagles win. I picked the Eagles.
I picked the ELGSEL Eagles.
I also picked the ELGSEL Eagles. For context, I played him in
I'm still up by 8. I need Neighbors and Pickens to you-know-what the bed tonight.
Come on, Neighbors.
You're still up by 8 after all of that, dude.
After Kyle Pitts is
After
nodding on my
Kyle
bench.
Pitts is
And who do
on
you
your
have
bench.
going on for you tonight?
Huh?
Who do you have going for you tonight?
Nothing. I'm done.
Oh,
That's why I need Neighbors
I
and
won!
Pickens to
Let's
suck.
go!
Oh,
Come on, Neighbors.
I'm winning right now. I will take that. I
need Malik Neighbors.
Watch them both not show up.
I just need him to get like 30 yards.
One of them shows up to the stadium sick today, out. The other one only gets 2 targets. I win. But if Saquon was to score a touchdown and I was to start Kyle Pitts, which I said on Saturday night when I got the notification saying to start Pitts, I was going to start him. I fell asleep and I forgot. Anyways, all right, spending too much time on that. Jets and Patriots, what the heck, Jets? What is going on? This is the most Jetsy Jets team in Jets history.
5 straight losses for the Jets now.
Garbage.
I'm never picking the Jets ever again.
Are they going to win another game this year?
Poverty team.
I don't even know. At this point, dude. They've lost 5 straight now. You try and reestablish the Rodgers to Devontae Adams connection, and look where that gets you.
Right. I don't feel bad for Devontae Adams at all because he wanted this.
Yes, he did.
All right, Packers and Jags. I picked the Packers. It was a close game at the end. Jaguars made it an entertaining one. That's all you can ask from the Jaguars.
Did.
Mm-hmm.
So the Packers, that sucks that they won, but hey, I got one for Pick'em. Bills and Seahawks, another demolition derby out here. 31-10. Kincaid got me a touchdown still.
There you go.
So we forgot to mention, all these tight ends are scoring touchdowns on tight ends day. I think it was, 17 or 18 different different tight ends with tuds?
There were a lot, yes.
And George Kittle, he's the one that made the holiday. I love the holiday. Tight end's my second favorite position in football.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line, tight end, defensive line, the 3 most important positions.
There you go.
The trenches, baby. But the Bills, I picked the Bills.
I picked the Bills, too. They're looking solid. Josh Allen continues to dominate. Ryan, who'd you go with?
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Ryan Donnelly upset of the week. Yep. I deserve this. This is deserved. I am a poopy head, but
That's not how the saying goes.
I picked the Seahawks to win as my upset, and I'm
Did you just say hawk?
the Seahawks. No,
Did we discuss Tua Tagovailoa's injuries earlier today?
Oh, jeez.
I picked the Seahawks.
This one's
Moving
for
on.
you, Tony.
Moving on.
Anyways, Chargers and Saints, the weirdest game of the day. The weirdest.
Jeez.
The Saints scored a safety, then a field goal, then a field goal. I wanted to get another field goal for a scoregami, but that was probably the most prime position for a scoregami yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we got it. 26-8. I picked the Chargers. Do the honors.
I actually have energy today, and I'm not sick like I was last episode. I picked Jim Harbaugh, and the Chargers to win the game.
I went with the Chargers here. Saints are what we thought would be a sleeper team at the beginning of the season. They're kind of falling a little flat. They're 2-6 now in the season, so rough spot for the Saints. I picked the Chargers, though. This next game, though,
Ladies and gentle fish!
That was a great upset.
My Washington Commanders, I have been a fan all season. From day one, I've been a fan of this team.
Day one,
Jaden Daniels is a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL. He is incredible. It looks like the Bears made another mistake at the quarterback position because Caleb Williams, when the lights got a little bright, failed. Let's take a look at the tape. Washington gives up a touchdown. And Bears fans are trying to blame Matt Eberflus for handing the ball off to an offensive lineman. No, you had chances all game. Anyways, it's the final play of the game. One, an incredible play to Terry McLaurin when they were playing. All of their guys were back preventing the Hail Mary. They moved the ball up to make it a better shot at the Hail Mary for Jaden Daniels with that rib injury and give Terry McLaurin a little bit more fantasy points. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So Jaden McDaniels takes a snap. He has to start scrambling. This is when I thought the game was over. I was like, yep, Bears won. Great. Another win for the NFC North. And then he threw the ball. Their cornerback... Why am I forgetting his name?
Tyreek Stevenson.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a
rough
rough Monday for you.
pulled up right here.
It's going to be a rough Monday for you, buddy. Really rough Monday at meetings for you. He's doing this, mocking the fans. He's mocking the fans of Washington. You can see 3 players running down the field behind him. The Washington fans are pointing at them like, hey, dude, go do your job. He turns around, tips the ball, touchdown, Commanders! My reaction, we can't play it here on the show. I'll just say that. My reaction was, I had no dog in the fight here. I didn't bet on this game. None of my teams are in this game, right? The Lions aren't in this game. And I reacted like the Lions scored that touchdown. That was great. I love this Commanders team.
I can attest to this because I heard his reaction and I didn't go as nuts as that, but I still went nuts.
That was crazy. That was probably one of the craziest plays I've seen live.
Incredible.
And he's just standing there like, oh, thank you, come again.
Noah Brown was literally
right behind him.
There
it is. Ball's tipped.
Right
in the cookie jar.
That ball was tipped. He was waiting on the tip, too. It was a really good heads-up play.
He probably saw that it's going to land right there, and they're going to try to tip that ball. So it wasn't caught.
Did.
And he was like, let me stand back here. They're going to tip it, and maybe it'll come right to him. And he's like, oh, okay, touchdown. We win the game.
It was insane. Washington went crazy. They're becoming one of my favorite teams.
Oh, yeah.
I picked the Commanders. That was a fantastic game.
I just cannot wait for what Tyreek Stevenson is going to go through this week at meetings, at practice. because he's not gonna be too thrilled this week.
He's in trouble.
He's in trouble this week.
All right, the Broncos and Panthers, kind of a waste of time with this one. 28-14, I picked the Broncos.
And now here's my full depth analysis of the Broncos-Panthers game. Okay, that's bad choice of comedy.
What?
I said I'm going to do a full analysis on the Browns-Panthers game because you said it's a waste of a time. I don't have any analysis on the game.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. I picked the Broncos.
All right, the Kansas City Fighting Taylor Swifts against the Raiders. And the Raiders almost pulled off the upset, and I would have loved to see that. The Chiefs are not the best team in the league. The best team in the league blows out 1 and 2 win teams. We don't play it close. We don't almost lose. We don't almost give up the game at the end of the game. No, we blow them out. That's what the best team in the league does. So I picked the Chiefs, sadly, and they won.
I picked the Kansas City Fighting Taylor Swifts to beat the Raiders to win.
There it is.
I also picked the Kansas City Fighting Taylor Swifts. I'm going to try this without hurting my voice. To defeat the now 2-6 the Raiders. Ow.
And then the 49ers, thank God I didn't switch this. 49ers take care of business against the Fighting Dakota Rains in Dallas. Ha-ha, Dallas, you guys suck. Ha-ha-ha-ha.
Dallas is America's team? Really? No.
They're not even Texas's team anymore. So.
No, they're not.
How do you have the highest paid quarterback and the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL?
That's what you call overpaying
and you're
players.
3 and 4. Dak Prescott gets paid more per quarter than Brock Purdy gets paid all year, and he's 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Overpaid.
He is completely overpaid. I thought that was a stupid move from the beginning.
And tonight we have Giants and Steelers. So great, this could be a fun one. Not really. I'm watching the Pistons, and I'm watching the World Series, and that's what I'm doing tonight. Anyways, we're coming up after this break, all right? We had to hit football a little bit quicker at the end there, but coming up after this break, we're going to talk Pistons. Starting the season a little shaky, but there's optimism. I'm telling you, there's optimism.
There is.
And the Red Wings lose a tough one in overtime. You're watching Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. We'll be right back after this.
Sports cards, signed jerseys, signed helmets, and more. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles is your one-stop shop for all things the hobby. Make sure to check them out down Mission Street in Mount Pleasant, right past Meyer. Miller's Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. Join Michael Rosenkranz,
Sports take precedence over academics.
I agree, but
Ryan Donnelly,
Corbin Burns, who is their big-ticket J13 item. Scooble is with us. Scooble's our big-ticket
Did
J1.
you just call Tarek Scooble James? And Anthony Schulte.
I have an issue.
You have.
There is no break. It's a constant grind. It's an unbreakable cycle.
Yeah, it's...
As they navigate through the Detroit sports landscape. Live Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. on 101.1 The Beat in Mount Pleasant and at 11 a.m. on YouTube. Card Guys, Detroit Sports Talk. With you on this fine Victory Monday from the great city of Mount Pleasant, Michigan. The Detroit Pistons started their season since our last episode. Mm-hmm. And 0-3 is the start to the season. However, there's optimism. There is optimism in Detroit because not only do we have the toughest schedule to open up the season, we played it close with the Pacers. Probably should have won that game, but we're still learning. All right, we should have won that game. I'm really mad we didn't. The Cavs, we played it close. We kind of kept inching back, and then we lose it. And then we'd inch back, and then we lose it again. Tough one in Cleveland. That we were going to lose that one regardless, in my opinion. And then the Celtics game. First quarter, Celtics can't miss a three. They have, what, 16 threes in the first quarter? Or the first
13,
half?
13, I think it was.
13 in the first quarter, 16 at the end of the first half. It looked like they were poised to beat that record. They never will, it seems. And then halftime comes around. We're down by, 23 at some point. And then the Pistons do something I haven't seen since 2018-19. Not only do we show resilience, we show competency, and we show a good basketball team. This team came back from a 23-point deficit to take a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter against the defending champions. Not only giving them their first real test of the year, but their first taste of the NBA season. The last two games, they blew out the Knicks, they blew out the Wizards. You're telling me the defending champs' first test of the season's against the Detroit Pistons? Yes, please. That was an incredible game. Even though we lost, look, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're coming off 14 wins. You're not going to win every game. We're building chemistry right now. We're trying to learn a new system, third system in 3 years. And this is how you build up wins. This is how you build up a good team. You have to go through the tough losses. You need to learn. You need to go through adversity. You need to learn what you're doing to lose these games, fix it, and then win these games. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The Pistons have a tough schedule to start the season. You got three playoff teams, one of which is the defending champions, and then you have Miami, Philly, and the Knicks. You got 2 playoff teams and another contender, I'd say. I don't think the Sixers or the Heat are a contender, but they're a playoff team. They got good talent. That's a tough schedule. But then after that, it gets really easy. You have a really easy pocket in November where you can rattle off some wins. There's optimism. I think, and I'm calling it right now, right here, I'm calling it.
Okay.
Oh,
the Pistons will be above 500 by November 26th. By Thanksgiving, the Pistons will be above 500. Mark my words. I've watched enough of this team. Look at the schedule. Look at the wins. Above 500, the Detroit Pistons will be by Thanksgiving. Book it.
Yeah. Let me name the teams that we have to play after the Knicks on November 1st. Nets.
Win.
Lakers.
Loss.
Hornets.
Win.
Hawks.
Win.
Rockets.
Win.
Heat in the group stage of the NBA Cup.
I say we win that one.
At home, which helps. Mm-hmm. Bucks. Loss. Raptors.
Win.
Wizards.
Win.
Bulls.
Win.
Hornets.
Win.
Magic.
Loss.
Raptors.
Win.
And then Grizzlies.
Toss up, but I think we lose.
And then the final stage after Thanksgiving is against the Pacers.
And we win that one in a little bit of a revenge for Tyrese Halliburton hitting the boom.
I think we lose that one.
You're at Gainbridge that day, too.
We are at Gainbridge Fieldhouse that game.
We get the
win. We would have won that Celtics game, and I will die on this hill. We would have won on Saturday if we played a full 4 quarters. First quarter was the sloppiest game I have ever seen from this team. Couldn't hit shots at all. And then the second quarter, you played fantastic. Third quarter was the best quarter I've ever seen for the Pistons in recent history. Fourth quarter was, on and off. But turnovers were killer at the end of the fourth quarter.
The Celtics went on a 10-2 run once we got the 6-point lead I mentioned. They went on a 10-2 run to answer and win the game. That's what won them the game. We had opportunity after opportunity, but like you said, turnovers and missed open shots and bad shots. 2 bad shots, the rest were misses. That's what lost us the game.
Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias Harris have been very disappointing the past 2 games. Tobias Harris, opening night, looked pretty decent.
He looked good.
He looked pretty good. And then the Cavs game, he looked really bad. And then Saturday, he looked really bad. Tim Hardaway Jr., all season, is taking the most dumb shots I have ever seen in my life. When the game's on the line on Saturday, you do not take a shot from midcourt. Luckily, Isaiah Stewart was there to grab the rebound, lay it back in. We're up by 1 again. But if you play a full 4 quarters, you could win against the Boston Celtics and have the upset of the year already. Now, like Anthony mentioned, we're building chemistry through these 3 very tough games. And once we hit that easy stretch of Brooklyn, Charlotte, Houston, whatever, we are going to click and we are going to beat teams by 20, and I will believe in that. But we got to get there first. Obviously, it's early in the year. I can't really say that, oh, we're bad. The casual fan will say that we are the worst team in the NBA, but they haven't watched this Pistons team.
We
so
started
I don't
2-1 last season.
We
and
did.
Look what happened.
We did. We started 2-1, and then I went on a 28-game losing streak. I don't think we're going to be 500 by Thanksgiving. I think we're going to probably be close to beating our win total. I don't think we're going to be 13-8. I think we'll be like 11 and 10, I want to say.
That's above 500.
It's above 500, but it's not 13-8. I think this team shows shines. This team is way, and I mean like light years better than last year.
Oh,
100%.
Yeah. No doubt.
They just got to close out games. They just got to stop the turnovers, and they just got to hit shots when it matters.
Who wants to be quickly? Who wants to be my subject? Raise your hand first.
Alrighty.
I'm scared.
Anthony's standing up now. Ryan's standing up. I don't know
right,
what's
folks.
happening here.
I'm going to give a diagram of the defense that we should be playing in the NBA. All right, so you're gonna be the offensive player. All right, okay. You're gonna be the offensive player. This is what we need to do. All I keep seeing is us lunging. We're in a good defensive stance, but we're lunging, and it's creating fouls. We're fouling way too much on jumpers. This is what I want to see. I want to see defense like, all right, act like you're in a triple threat position, please. All right, so we're right here, right? I'm playing defense, right? Go up to take a shot. Like this. You go up like this, and instead of lunging to block, right, you're going to have your opportunities to block the ball. Most times on shots, though, I want to see this. Get in his face. Go up to shoot the ball again. In his face. Because what you're going to do, you're going to create a distraction. And you're doing more by doing that because you're creating a distraction and you're distracting him from making the shot. You don't have to disrupt the shot. You need to distract the shot. I think we need to do way more of that on defense. There it is.
I also have another...
We just got a fantastic lesson from Anthony Schulte, who briefly turned into a basketball coach.
Yep.
Another quick defensive point. Unnecessary switches and unnecessary help. There's been moments in the Celtics game where you see guys towards the paint, and you have like Jaylen Brown or Derek White driving, and then you have Peyton Pritchard right in the corner, kick out three, boom. Yes,
keep an eye on your defender.
Stay with your defender, stay with your man, but also, I mean, yeah, keep your eyes on the ball all the time.
You just need your center and your power forward to go into help when you need it. You will have help there, but we shouldn't have our wing defenders going into help because that leaves people wide open like Peyton Pritchard.
There are two squares by the end of the basket for a reason. For your 4 and for your 5. Yep. The blocks are for your big guys. They should stay there. And if they have to help out at the corner, they could. They could probably move to the left or move to the right.
If there's no help, you would rather give up a 2 than a 3.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So don't leave. You can try and distract the defender, but don't entirely leave that man because, again, the Celtics are the best three-point shooting team in the league. You're going to leave them open from 3 rather than give them a 2? Come on. I'd rather give them a 2 than give them even an open shot at a 3.
That's all I have to say about the defense. Defenses have to improve.
And Ryan, I mean, there's not really much I can add on to that because I completely agree with everything you're saying. You got to find ways to win the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And yes, this is a far better team than what we saw last year. When you get to a point where you're not talking about staggering anymore or talking rotations with
all bench
Tommy
lineup.
T-shirts, all bench lineups.
Our all bench lineup was only bad last year because our best player on the bench was Alec Burks. That was the best player on our bench last year. That's why all bench lineups were bad. Now our bench has some competency to it.
It's like, put that into perspective. Alec Burks was your best bench player last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is a better team. This is a better team than last year.
By a mile.
By a mile.
Casuals don't understand.
It's not
that.
ideal that they're 0-3 already.
But there's things to build on.
But it's the NBA. You're going to win some games. And that stretch after the next 3 games, Heat, Sixers, Knicks, you can see some wins in there. I don't think you're losing to the Nets. If you do, that's disgraceful.
Yep.
Did Killian Hayes get cut from the Nets?
He did.
Yep, he did. He's with their G League team.
Dang.
Oh, he's with Long Island? Oh, good for him. I thought he got cut completely.
No. Well, yeah, he did, but then they signed him to G
but they
League.
went
Okay,
to
good for
he went
him.
to G League, so I
Good
guess
for
he got
Killian.
restructured there. Anyways, you're gonna see some wins in this stretch.
Yep.
It's not ideal that you're 0-3. You've got to find ways to finish games and make good decisions, take your shots when they matter, and more importantly, you got to make your shots when they matter. I mean, I can't really add on much to that, unfortunately, but I will say this is a much better Pistons team. And
Much better Pistons team, and they play the Heat tonight at 7:30. You got some?
I got something really quickly.
Really quick.
That ball should fly. Not like shot-wise, but passes-wise. Ball movement, J.B. Bickerstaff has harped on this even when he was with Cleveland. His offense are very poetic. This offense is not poetic yet.
I mean, we've seen some glimpses of it.
Yeah, like we've seen some great ball movement. Like I don't remember. I think there was a pass where like I think it was Stewart cut to the basket and Cade had like a no-looker and he was wide open under the basket. That's that offense I want to see every time. Those passes should be flying. If Tim Hardaway Jr. is contested in the corner and Malik Beasley is wide open, pass. If the defender's coming up to help and Cade Cunningham is open on the other corner, swing it. Find the right shot. Take the right shot at the right time. Don't take stupid shots like Tim Hardaway does. If you're open, take those shots. Don't wait. I'm done.
So the Pistons, they play the Heat at the Kaseya Center, 7:30 tonight on FanDuel Sports Network Detroit. So George Blaha and Greg Kelser, always nice to listen to them tonight. So that will be a fun one there. Quickly, the Red Wings. I didn't watch yesterday. Football was on. Sorry, I didn't watch the Red Wings.
I did.
I know it was an OT game. We had a 2-1 lead, and then Draisaitl for the Oilers clutched up, if you will. And the Red Wings took one on the chin, 3-2 at the pizza oven. Boys, quickly hit on this before we head on.
I've missed only one Red Wings game. I could officially say that we need to score. I
think that's important in any sport.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really help that we had a gauntlet to start off the year. I mean, the Devils was a free win. Predators were a free win. Islanders were a free win. Oilers, reigning Western Conference champions. I mean, the fact that we got a point out of that was impressive. We got the Jets on Wednesday, who have been dominant all year.
I don't think we're beating the Jets, unfortunately.
No.
They're too good.
No, this just... I mean,
Are they still
goaltending is
undefeated?
better.
Let me check on that. I think they're very close. Yep, 8-0.
Oh.
Yeah, we're
8-0. They play tonight against the Leafs at Winnipeg.
Yeah.
We are losing 8-1.
I think we are not going to beat Winnipeg. They are dominant right now.
The Red Wings are looking like a middle-of-the-road team rather than a playoff team.
They are right now. But that point was big because now you sit 5th in Atlantic, which is big. And not an offensive-minded third period. And that's one of the themes I've been noticing with this Red Wings team. They are not an offensive-minded team once they build a lead. It reminds me of, this is going to irk all of us since we're Michigan fans, but it reminds me of John L. Smith with Michigan State. He has a lead, and he took his foot off the pedal every single time. And this is what you're seeing with the Red Wings. You're up 2-1. I mean, against the Oilers, they're a good team. I sort of expected a comeback to happen, unfortunately, and it was bound to happen. Evan Bouchard was able to tie it at 10:47 in the third. And that penalty late in the third period that killed the Wings, I had an awful feeling that was going to bite them in the butt when they went to overtime, because after that 4-on-3, well, it would have stayed 4-on-3 until the whistle. So you would have still been on the PK in a sense. And all it took was 18 seconds in overtime for the Oilers to win it. And it's tough. Again, this Red Wings team is not an offensive-minded team. You've got to be offensive-minded in the late games. You've got to be able to win your games, and it's tough. Back-to-back, you lose 2 straight against Buffalo and Edmonton. And now next for you, I think, is the Jets.
Winnipeg, Buffalo, Chicago.
At home. So you got Buffalo again on Saturday the 2nd. I think you can win against...
Goodness, that is a
a
little
gauntlet. Oh my gosh.
That's a tough little 3-game stretch after the Blackhawks.
Okay, win against the. I'm gonna say win against the Jets. Loss against the Jets. Win against the Sabres. Win against the Blackhawks. Loss against the Maple Leafs. Loss against the Rangers. Win against the Penguins on your gig pad. Murder against the Ducks. Win against the Kings. Win against the Sharks. Win against the Islanders. I mean,
yikes! You had a tough stretch of games, though.
I'd say it's pretty easy, but there's a sprinkle of contenders like the Rangers and the Jets and the Pens. But I mean, I don't really know. We're a middle of the road team. It feels like
it's early in the season, but yeah, this Red Wings team feels very middle of the road. Derek Lalonde, I don't like him too much as a coach.
I hate him,
but give him credit where credit's due. I mean, you got a point against a very tough Oilers team. Tough way to lose 2 in a row. But now you got to try and at least compete against the
Red
Jets.
Wings can. If the Red Wings can beat the Jets, hallelujah.
That would be insane.
I don't know.
I don't think you're beating the Jets.
All right, well, that's all we have for today's show, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Card Guys Season 3, Episode 14 on 101.1 The Beat and YouTube. Stay tuned for Wednesday's program, where we preview a huge NFC North bout between the Lions and the Packers. For my good buddies, Ryan Donnelly and Michael Rosenkranz, I'm Anthony Schulte saying, so long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. The Jared Goff chance needs to stop at non-Lions games. Please stop it.